Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War 2, and this is my insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Act 4-4. It is entitled No Turning Back. So, this has a really lousy checkpoint because you have to listen to the dialogue every time, but as potentially bad as this is, and it is unforgiving as far as if you don't shoot these Reavers here that show up, it is an instant fail. Now they can collide with the gondola that you're on, but if they're not dead, that's very bad for you because it's going to be a fail. But if you've killed them and then they collide with the gondola, it's considered just collateral damage, and it doesn't count against you. So what you can do here, if you want to get all of the benefit that you can, is that you can fire down your Lancer until it just has one or two bullets, and then once the Reaver comes into hitting range, then you can go for the active reload on the weapon, which has a pretty easy active reload to hit. If you gun jam, you're screwed, obviously, but like I said, it's an easy weapon to get the active reload on. So there's 4 Reavers on that side, and then there's going to be another gondola that shows up that has 4 or 5 grubs on it, and you want to be careful as they spawn because they can hit you. This is a bad spot to be. I would be behind this center piece here. Using the grenades is quite helpful on this part once you get side by side with the other gondola. And we have one grub that's spawned at a really weird position up there, but I'm not going to throw the grenade only because my teammates did a pretty good job of clearing these enemies out, and I don't think that you can fail if you don't do this in a timely manner. So don't rush it if you don't have to, and use blind fire. It's very effective since it's at close range. And then you're gonna hop the gondola and get onto the one that the enemies were on. It's not letting me for some reason, but in a moment it'll let me mantle over it. And then there's going to be 2 more Reavers, so there's 4 at first on that side, and then on the other side there's 2. The first one is kind of hard to see, but it's on the other side, right over here. And they never change sides, and it's all very straightforward. But you see they kind of come out of that right side of the sky where the gondola was kind of obstructed. But yeah, if you are having trouble here, you don't have to do the active reload method, but it is a little helpful. I mean, it's quite helpful. And if you want to use the hammer burst, you can, but the hammer burst, it just doesn't have that many rounds. I think it's something like 20 to like 50 approximately. The ratio is like the hammer burst has 20 rounds in it, something like that, and the Lancer has something like 50. It might even be like 17 to something like 50, 52 or 50. I'm not sure, but it's significantly less than the Lancer. Admittedly, you can't zoom in, and that but you just don't. It's not necessary is the thing. But the reason I say it's unforgiving, those Reavers, is the fact that if you're not on your mark on that, they don't give you too terribly much of time to do that. So you do need to be accurate, and you can, like I said, you can compensate for that a little bit by using the active reload method, because then your bullets will have a little bit more damage output, meaning that you can be a little bit less accurate. But anyway, when you come over here, you want to pick up the ammunition and the other frags. So if you haven't used any frags at this point, you should be up to 4. And there is going to be a split in the path coming up right after this fight. But since there's a cactus over here, or I'm sorry, did I say cactus? Jesus fucking Christ! I'm sorry, I can't this. But since we have one of them, you're going to want to watch out for the tickers because they show up at the worst times. They're not silent. They do give off a warning, so it's just one of those things that you've got to be really conscious of while you've got one of these motherfuckers. These little look. I hate they do flips and flails, and it's frustrating. Anyway, you're gonna come down the stairs over here, and I'm going to show these two paths. Of course, we're always doing both paths. The first choice here, where it says, I think it says stairwell. Yeah, stairwell. This path is more involved. It's technically harder than the turret. I'm sorry, yeah, it is. I would say it's harder than being on the turret. The turret is pretty much a no-brainer, but I would recommend using this path because even though it's harder than the turret path, it's not hard. It's easy to get killed, of course, because this is insane difficulty and you get killed quickly and you don't get to have a second chance, but most of these situations can be done by finding a good spot. That first spot, I would recommend going over there. And most of these situations too, you can use the exploding canisters to kill out most of the enemies. On that first mob there, I've had it so that I killed everybody that spawned just by shooting that first canister. Another reason you might want to do this stairwell path is because you can get a boom shot starting from this point forward. There's two boomers over here to the right, so you need to be very careful, as well as a Cantus over here. So, of course, prioritize him and the boomers, and then you just have one more level. When you go onto the turret, you're not going to be going up and down any stairs. You're just going to be on a lift, on an elevator platform that goes down the levels, and you're just on the turret. But I do definitely recommend this path just because you can get this nice weapon to use on some of the later parts too. So on this path, you're just pulling a couple of switches. That's the main priority. And then be careful here. This is a couple of grinders down here. But so if you have the boom shot here, it's very easy to take care of this situation. And this door over here takes a long time to open for some reason, but just wait for it and it will open eventually. Now I'm going to continue on this path off camera, and I am going to show the turret path, but when the Troika turret path ends, I'm going to rejoin with my footage, and you'll resume with me having the boom shot. So if you just want a quick, easy time of it, you don't care about getting the boom shot, I definitely would recommend this path for you. You're never really in danger either on this. There's no cover here, so they're pretty easy on you. And again, you want to find those yellow canisters and shoot those as much as you can. Some of the later fights too that happen, they're not particularly challenging. There's a couple. I think there's maybe one that is really easy to get killed on because you've got some boomers and another Cantus and his tickers. His tickers finding you is kind of ridiculous. Just you minding your own business, and then all of a sudden a ticker shows up right next to you, and you just really can't roll away in time, and you get screwed. But I think we just have one more level down here to do. But yeah, there is one section that's a tiny egregious, but not having the boom shot is not a big detriment. I'm just saying it's helpful. Okay, so this is all finished. This path, since we did all of these 3 levels. But now, as I say, I'm going to show you where the door is over here. It's all the way up here and then over to the left. But like I said, I'm going to resume my normal campaign on the left path up here. So you'll see that I do have the boom shot now, and we're going to be running down here. This is the if this is what I think it is, yeah, this is the fight that is a tad egregious, only because the Cantuses, with their tickers and their poison gas, they're a nuisance. So you want to prioritize them, and then getting killed by the boom shots is pretty typical. Now there is a switch down some stairs to the left that I'm not sure if I'm going to pull it or not. I think I'm going to pull it just to show you where it is. But the switch that I'm going to pull is going to cause a floor to come over to us so we can pass over to the other side. But if you don't pull the switch that I'm going to show you, your teammates will do it for you. It gets done by itself. So anyway, there's some frag grenades back where we came over there as well. At this point, though, Marcus says you need to find a way to lower their cover. Pulling that switch was the way to do that. Lower their cover, and then you can just snipe everybody. There's a bunch of good weapons in this room down here because you had boomers and everybody down here with good shit to pick up. You're going to be prevented from picking up those weapons at first. There's even a long shot down here, of all things. But you're going to be prevented from picking anything up because there's going to be a cutscene. You might be able to get away with picking something up, but don't worry about picking anything up at this moment, because after you kill these 2 grinders, you'll be able to pick it up. But I'm not sure if you die to them, if you reset from that checkpoint, if the ammunition and everything that was there before is going to be there again. I don't think it would be, so you need to be careful about that. Try not to die on these guys. And then for some reason after this, they have one guy just come out of a door. I think it's a grenadier, gun raised and ready to shoot you with a shotgun in your face. But you have a checkpoint, so I would stand at the side over here. You still can get killed if you get unlucky, but normally you can get away with doing that. Even if you don't, even if he staggers you and you get hit and killed, you get a nice checkpoint there too, so don't worry about it. And always remember to pick up these red boxes, because you can sometimes get refills for your power weapons. And since we had a boom shot, I definitely was interested in picking up those red boxes to get refills for my boom shot. I'm not going to be taking anything. Let me rephrase that. Well, I am not going to be taking anything into 4-5 from this act. But you don't really need to, is the thing, because there's plenty of great weapons in the next act that you can get your hands on quickly. But I don't think there's a boom shot though. So if you do want to carry the boom shot, you'll have to bring it into 4-5 from this act. And I really miss the grub holes. There was a couple of them in the first act, and there was a couple of those gash-like ones in the second act, and then there was a few of them in Act 3, but they definitely reduced how many of those grub holes are in this game, which was the primary source of my enjoyment of the first game. But when you do get in here, you have another checkpoint, and you're going to have a lift in the middle of the room come up, and there's a bunch of enemies on here. A Cantus, some Maulers, some Therons. So I like to just throw all my grenades in there. We're not going to be saving anything or doing anything like that. I think all it takes is you just running to that platform to get a checkpoint, but obviously when there's so many enemies there, you're never going to make it. So if you just kill the majority of them, you'll be able to to get into that platform. And even if you don't go onto the platform, the game is just going to go into a cutscene anyway. Because I was trying to get this guy's torque bow, but it jumped me into a cutscene, and then, you know, what are you going to do? But it doesn't matter, because there's plenty of, like I said, there's plenty of good things in the next act. So that has been Act 4-4. I will see you in the 5th act. Until then, I hope the guide helps you, and please take care.